Great. This session's being recorded. We're going to publish this session publicly, but we will take questions after the recording has stopped later on. So, hello everyone. Welcome along to Improving Local Authority Building Control Alpha, the R&D show and tell, and this is our fifth show and tell of the project so far. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about prototyping and testing, a bit of a short amount on user research, and then some updates on data standards and what's next. So just to remind us of our Alpha vision, we are here to explore, prototype and test solutions that demonstrate how building control can be improved to deliver a better user experience for customers and staff, improve the quality and usefulness of data, and to position local authorities as the service provider of choice. So we'll jump into the prototyping and testing. So we previously shared the work we did on an initial prototype for a customer portal. We've been testing this with customers, but also with building control staff. And we've taken their feedback and we've sort of iterated on the portal designs. So we've developed a site visit reports page, so where customers can view that site visit report, see any requirements that have been added, and download that, importantly, as a document if they need that for any sort of record keeping purposes. We've added the inspector details to the homepage. One thing that we've found, sort of heard from customers, was that it was really important to have that kind of human connection, or at least that sort of like ability to know who it is who might be able to help them with any queries. And I suppose maybe most significantly, we've integrated the requirements. So these are requirements that could come from the design check phase, the site visit, or sort of throughout the process. We've integrated the ability to sort of track those and see those, which kind of essentially form this key audit trail throughout the application's lifecycle, as those are sort of raised and then hopefully resolved before a completion certificate can be granted. So you can see here we've got an example of what those requirements look like, and I am just going to switch what I'm sharing to give us a quick demo of what that looks like. So as we previously shared, emails will be sent to customers to be able to access their portal. And on that portal, they'll be able to see site visits, next actions, requirements that need a response, and they'll be able to see those requirements listed there. So you can see that we've got a mix of discharged requirements where a requirement has been made of the applicant, they've responded with either some design changes or some extra information, and that has kind of been checked by the inspector who's discharged it. We can see that those can be responded, so it's been raised, the applicant or the customer has shared extra information, and that's not yet been sort of checked. We can see some unresponded ones, and we can see some new requirements. We think it's really important that we're able to kind of add to this list over time, and that it's clear to everyone that what is happening. So we can have a quick look at what that might look like by looking at this F1 requirement. So these the numbers refer to the approved documents and the parts of sort of regulations that match. We can see that this is the requirement here. It's requiring further information. We can see the link to the improved document and the section, and we can see the ability to upload documents and add sort of an optional description of how that requirement's been met, such that that can go over to the inspector, be kept as a part of an audit trail for the application, and then hopefully be discharged rapidly. And we can see once it's responded, the status updates there. We've also, just to highlight, we've added in the responsible inspector's contact details on that homepage as well. And I think that is everything for that. So I will return to my slides, and we can carry on with the show tab. Okay, so we've also been thinking a bit about the design of the application page. So this is, we're now switching from the customer portal to thinking about the back office system. And this essentially is each application has, we'll have a page where all the details about that application are kept, and where an inspector or any member of building control staff can go there to take actions on it, whether that's to record fees, make it valid, sort of manage documents, or process the design checks, site visits, etc., etc. We have been from testing, particularly testing on the design check prototype that we've shared previously. We understand that it's really important that inspectors have flexibility. So it's not really suitable to give them a structured sort of, this step needs to be complete before you go on to that step kind of workflow. But it's really important that it is clear that what has been done, what has been started, and what still needs to remain to be either checked, or things that have been checked and issues raised having a clear thread through of that. So we've considered how we allow this match between flexible movement between, for example, the inspections and the design checks, as we know these they're related, but they can overlap. So how we allow that sort of movement backwards and forwards, but also how we can structure the information so that the things that are frequently used, the things that are most important, are available, very quickly to the inspector. They don't have to go find them, and this hopefully helps them feel, work more quickly as their understanding is sort of supported more rapidly. But also, it's just less scrolling and clicking when they're using the application. So you can see here we've got a screenshot of the page. You can see that we've included some steps, as in different sort of groupings of tasks on the left-hand side. So we've got validation, design check, inspections, and notices. These are all open and can be interacted with at any different stage of the process. We've got a very clear sort of status for the quote and the ability to add quotes, and then once the quote's added, then to record payments, or et cetera, et cetera. I think one of the things we're considering is actually potentially this becomes a sort of quotes and fees task that would sit in this list, because it really is kind of a sort of, again, another parallel and quite significant task that can happen with an application. We've got key site information available at the top with the map. We've got the descriptions of work, and we've got the duty holders there. So there's a really clear sort of identification of who those PD, PC, and client are. We can see that we've got the requirements as well available, and we've got case events there. So I'm just very quickly going to move us over where we can have a quick look at this page in slightly more detail. And there we go. So yes, this is the page we've just been looking at. And one of the ideas is that there are sort of two key elements we feel. One is having that really clear list of requirements, what's been discharged, what has yet to be discharged, and having those brought together in one place just helps provide that clear audit log. And we're learning from some of the best practices that have been implemented in the BSR assessment process, building off the back of their BCAA form. But one of the advantages we have by digitizing this rather than holding it in a document is that we don't need to worry about versioning and sort of having to share the physical document backwards and forwards. We can have that audit log and that visibility and transparency and collaboration sort of inbuilt, because it's kept digitally and the information shared rather than sharing documents. Similarly, and sort of related to the requirements, is to track the case event through the different stages. So here we can see that we've got these different stages of the application there, with the validation, the design check, and the inspections. And then within each section, we can just see some dates and some high-level summary of what's happened and what's, whether there's been a response or not. And this just really helps navigate any inspector, particularly inspectors who might be picking up cases, to really understand, okay, great, what has happened to date and what do I need to do next, and gives them that clear overview across the different stages of the application. So we will be building on this, and we want to do some co-design. So we've got a workshop coming up on Friday where we're going to have a bit of a deeper dive into this and maybe sort of take it apart and put it back together in some different ways to understand how this might work. We are obviously looking for people to get involved in user testing. So we will share this link with the invitees to this show and tell. But if you're interested in getting involved, please do sign up. We will always have new prototype stuff to test. User research. We also want to speak to principal designers and contractors, and we'll share this sign up link as well. So if anyone has any contacts or is anyone interested in that, please do get in touch. And data standards, I'll hand over to Rhian.
Yeah, hi. So just a brief word about as I've got the technical hat on, mention something about the customer portal prototype that Tom showed. In parallel, I've been building out a coded version of this, obviously very early steps, and further work on that will, of course, depend on what comes out of the workshop. So that's going on in the background, but a lot of focus, of my focus in the last sprint has been on the data standards piece. So within the repo, we now have submission examples for competent persons and initial notices. Thanks to Jordan and Dalil for that. Getting those redacted examples was really, really good. Other work that I've been doing is cross-checking the schema against the building regs just to ensure that we have everything that we're supposed to. Had separate conversations with very helpful people from Dorset Building Control and also Bristol, where we talked through some of the work that we've been doing, and they made some really helpful points. External meetings now are a continuing focus for the next sprint. I've initiated a conversation with BSR and heard back from them. So going to set up a meeting to talk about data standards as they relate to the building safety regs and what we can do working with them. Also got a call with NHBC coming up. And this is really important for anyone watching the recording. We've got a call next week, set up by Jordan, that is open to as many of you as possible, where we're going through the data standards repository on GitHub in a really non-technical way, and mystify the whole process and explain how more people can contribute to this. So thanks, Jordan, for setting up that meeting, and we really encourage anyone who can to attend this call next Tuesday morning. That's been
great. Thank you very much. Rhian, so just leaves to us to say what's next. As we said, we've got a February workshop coming up this Friday at Lambeth, and we're going to be looking at some of the application, how we structure kind of the workflow and sort of how that maybe relates to the kind of application page as well. Data standards call, which Rhian's just talked about. We'll record that as well. So if you can't make that time, there will be a recording to share. And if you don't get that into your inbox, please do let us know, and we'll be happy to forward that on. And then it's essentially sort of ongoing work across our different streams, ongoing data standard stuff, further research and testing, site inspections, prototyping, and building out the coded prototype, particularly the customer portal, which hopefully we'll give a demo of at the next show and tell. Great. Thank you very much. We'll pause the recording there and take any questions or suggestions. Hold on, let me stop the recording. There we go.